Welcome, everyone, to episode 21 of the Dual Boot Diaries, the weekly podcast where two longtime Windows users try to learn to use Linux daily. I am one of your hosts, Adam Patrick Murray.
I'm your other host, Will Smith, and we're not experts. We always say that because it's important to remember, not experts. But what we are is people who are at the end of this magical journey we're on. We're going to look deep into the partition structure of our hard drives, and we may or may not delete a partition, either the Windows one or the Linux one. We see how it goes and where we're at with the whole thing. That's what I got. What are we doing this week, Adam? This is a good intro.
It's the beginning of the year. It's a fresh year. We got our vibe checks on last week, and then we got hit with some news that I think we shared with each other, and we were just like, oh man, this could rock our Linux world. And that is maybe Adobe apps are coming to Linux.
Well, okay.
Maybe.
So I dug into this a little bit. There were a couple reports because a user named File something, I think.
FileZilla?
No. It's Files Basement. Posted to the Valve Software Wine repo, which is a downstream repo of the main one, some fixes to JavaScript dispatch, event handling, and XML parsing that made Adobe Creative Cloud installers work on Linux all of a sudden. And then they went through a whole process. They made a bunch of other changes. They made some more merge requests. And then somebody from Valve was like, yo, this is a downstream repo. You got to go to the main one at this place instead. Because we'll maybe add it after they incorporate it. And then nothing happened after that.
So real quick, just 101, the way I understand how this wine stuff works is that you're essentially trying to take code that was written for Windows and then make the connections so that it'll translate into Linux.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Okay. And so Wine is kind of the most popular version of this. I don't know.
It's not even really. It's like it's the originator, right? Like
the originator. Oh, okay.
You think about. I was going to say like the headwaters of a river going to the ocean, but it's the other way actually. So if you think about like the root of a tree, all the branches that come in the Linux emulation space pretty much spawn off of Wine. There's some stuff that's not, but like Bottles and I think Winboat and a bunch of other things all are basically like tools that are built on top of Wine. Proton is a tool that was built on top of Wine.
Okay. And so from what I read, that there's specific things that Adobe apps need or that are required on the Windows side that just need to make that connection into Linux land to make it work. Yeah. And this is what this person was working on, right?
So this person did the work specifically to get the Adobe Creative Cloud installer working right, which is a key part of not running pirated versions of Adobe software on Linux. They were able to launch, I think, Photoshop 21 and 25 once they got it up and running, and that was kind of the extent of the testing, as far as I can tell.
So I guess the thing is, like, I feel like Adobe apps is the big thing that people talk about Linux, whether they're like, oh man, I miss it, or I'm so glad I'm off of it, or somebody like me who I'm like I need to use it, so even though I'm on this Linux journey, I still need to incorporate it in my workflow somehow. That it's talked about so much that it kind of surprises me that nobody's been trying to solve this issue until this guy.
That is a really good question. I don't understand it. It may be that, maybe this is a kind of moral stance against the bad software as a service company that, stopped charging us $600 for a piece of software one time and then started charging $600 for software that's kind of infrequently and often with detriment updated. So I don't know. I don't know why nobody's, if it was as easy as a person making a couple of commits to the database, I'm kind of surprised it hasn't happened. Maybe just nobody's bothered to take a look at it, or maybe the people who do this work don't pay $600 a year for Adobe software.
I don't know. It just feels like the elephant in the room, that it's like, maybe I'm missing something here or something, but it's just like, oh, okay, that's all it could take is just some dude making some connections and then it works. Like,
well, I mean, it's more complicated than that, but
of course, yeah.
But like fundamentally the problem now, as I see it, is that they made these commits to the Valve version of Wine, and then they went nowhere. Like they haven't committed them to the main Wine repo. So like maybe is a nothing burger, TBD.
Yeah, I mean, either way, I guess it'll maybe shed some more light on it, and maybe other people will being like, wait, if this guy could figure it out, like all the millions of people in the world who mess around with Linux can do something, right?
I mean, I feel like there's a big, one of the things I often wonder is that, like, you know, sometimes I'll hack something together that's not like, it's not like a real program. It's not something like this, but I'll hack something together that like could potentially be useful for other people. But then like, I don't want to have to maintain it long term. So like when I was at Tested, we built Andy McCurdy and I built like a virtual machine system, basically, that like watched it had two folders that it watched, and one of them you could put DVD ISOs into, and on the other end MKVs that were compressed with all the subtitles and audio tracks and stuff would come out. And they were compressed to the formats I wanted, and if you wanted it to be compressed with the H.264 animation settings, you could put a different file name and stuff on them. And so, like, we built this whole really cool thing, and we shared it, but also like it worked for maybe 5 years, and then in order to keep working, because the downstream repos that we were using changed, we would have had to make some substantial rewrites, and by that time neither of us had any time or interest in doing that work, so it just kind of languished. And like I wonder if this guy wanted to get Creative Cloud working on his Linux machine, did the changes to Wine, and is now just going to maintain his own fork of Wine for as long as he's using Creative Cloud, so that he can keep the installer running. Because like it seems like a lot of hassle sometimes to get involved in one of the big projects, especially like Wine is notoriously slow to accept merge requests and stuff like that.
Okay, yeah, it is. Yeah, when I think of Linux adoption, gaming is kind of one of the things where it's like, oh wow, Valve put a ton of effort, along with I'm sure plenty of other people, to figure out how to do gaming on Linux. And then like I said, the other pain point that I always, I guess, think about, and maybe it's just a me thing, is Adobe products. People are like, well, I got to have my Adobe products.
Well, you know, people also want Microsoft's fine Copilot 365 product, you know, the thing that contains Windows and, Word and Excel. That's another one that people really like that's hard to get running.
True. I mean, but at least somebody, at least in the Fedora store, I just looked at it this morning. I mean, somebody made a wrapper for Edge. Like, how many people out there are like dying for Edge and not for Adobe?
But you don't need a wrapper for Edge. Edge just works. They have native Linux Edge.
Oh, I know, but it's not in the Fedora repo.
It's not in the. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so
somebody put a wrapper in the repos is what I mean.
Oh, like bring it from one of the. Okay, that makes sense.
Anyway, I mean, like I hope, right? Like, I'm just crossing my fingers. How do we get this to happen, people? Let's figure it out.
I wonder if this is like Charlie Brown in the football. For Linux people who work in Photoshop. It's like this story comes up every 6 months, and we've only been doing this for 6 months, so we've never seen it before, and we're like,
this is our first
here
football
we go again.
poll.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay. Well, let us know in the comments then. The other thing I want to bring up before we get into our diary entries is one of my favorite Linux channels, I keep talking about it again, is Learn Linux TV. I really want to reach out to that guy, because he's straightforward, he's chill, he gives you good info, and he just seems to just love it and has a passion for it. And he posted a video within the last couple days of this recording talking about how, hey, distro hoppers, it's okay to be a distro hopper. Distro hopper can actually be a good thing. And let me tell you why. And he did a video about it. Now, I will be fair real quick. His channel is very much centered around sysadmins. So, and he even mentioned it in the video a couple times. But I mean, for somebody like me, it still applies as well. I'm not going to spoil all the stuff he goes into. He actually does give some tips on how to do his distro hopping better as well at the end. I'll put a link in the description, so go check out the video, please. But essentially, the big one for me that people always push back on me when I am doing my distro hopping stuff is like, oh man, the problem is you're not sticking around on one to get to know it and get to learn it and all the inner workings and all that kind of stuff. And his counter argument, which is the main crux of the video, is that actually you're learning way more about Linux than somebody who is stuck with one distro, because you get to see so many different ways of how it's done that you never think to ask, oh, it's done this way in this place. He gives a couple examples, but like he thinks that people actually get more from it because you're seeing a whole wide swath of how it's implemented. And so, yes, even though I'm not as skilled in maybe one distro, and I don't know, you can take a distro and you can make it whatever you want, but you're also, it gives you more questions and more examples. I mean, kind of like when I think about it, when I had first started on Ubuntu and then I switched to Fedora Workstation, and I was like, oh, actually a lot of the stuff I liked about Ubuntu was because of GNOME, and it wasn't really like an Ubuntu thing. I wouldn't have known that unless I tried a different.
That's 100% true.
Distro. So, it made me feel good. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Learn Linux TV, because I felt justified for it.
Look, it's important. It's just like the trackball thing, right? It's nice that there's a community of people out there that like the same weird thing that you like. And I'm glad that people are reinforcing that behavior for you. I'm not here to shame anyone for their choices.
There's dozens of us, Will.
Yeah. No, congratulations. I'm glad that this video spoke to you. That sounds great. But like I will say, having gone down some other distros with the Stream Machine, it was interesting the stuff that carries over and the stuff that doesn't. And like it made me appreciate the things about the Arch-based distros that I really liked, like the user repository and the focus on like it turns out I like rolling updates because I love that dopamine hit of, oh man, new stuff coming in. I got 7 things that are going to be new. What's going to be fun? Maybe there's going to be a topic we can talk about on the podcast this week. And sure enough,
maybe it's going to break everything.
Yeah.
Maybe it's going to break anything.
Maybe I'm going to have a command line machine for a week and we'll figure out how to do that. Maybe I'll get real into links. Okay. I'm going to turn in all my work in Nano this week. But yeah, no, it's like, I think, especially once you kind of set down roots, I totally get, like when I dug into Nix, that was super fun and I learned a ton, and I learned that Nix is not for me, at least on a desktop, which is a good thing to learn. Now I know. I was curious before. I was like, this seems weird and neat, and then I was like, it is weird and neat, and it's too weird, and I'm not going to fool with it, but maybe one day. So anyway, I'm not here to shame you. I think you're doing a good job.
Just all except for all those episodes where you did shame me. It's okay.
I mean, look,
I'm just kidding.
Yeah. I mean, Anyway, it's fine. I think dig in, move. It's fine. It's all good.
Yeah. Well, let's get into our diary entries. I don't have a ton, but it looks like you have some stuff that you've been chewing on.
You mean to start?
Sure.
Pick it up?
Yeah.
Okay. So I pay for Apple, the big giant Apple subscription that includes Apple Music, which means, well, I have a family of 4 people and they all need their iPhones backed up and I don't want to have to do it myself. So that to me is worth $20 a month or whatever it costs. And as a result, I get free Apple Music for everybody in the family, which means that most of us use Apple Music exclusively. The Apple Music web client really blows. It's really, really bad, like spectacularly
Thanks
terrible.
to Apple, or like, do you think it's intentional?
It could be because I'm trying to use it in Firefox. It could be because it's Apple. It could be. I honestly don't know, but it's bad on Windows too. It's not great, and the Apple Music client on Windows also blows. But I was looking around and I found this thing called Cider, which is a Apple Music client that somebody has rewritten from like base principles. And it's good. It's like shockingly awesome. It's a native app. It runs. They have a free version that was started out as an open source project. They ended up making a second version that it's unclear what the licensing on it is. I didn't care enough to dig. And I paid $3.50 to get access to it. They gave me a repo that I just add to my repo list in Arch or Debian or Fedora, I think. And then I pull it with the package update, just like anything else. And it's fabulous. It gives me the ability to manage playlists and manage local library and all the stuff that you kind of can't do in the web version of the app. And I quite like it. It's very good. I highly recommend it. It was definitely worth $3.50. So,
and that was through their site that you paid?
So you can buy it through their site. You can buy it through Itch. You can buy it on one of the other stores. I can't remember. But yeah, it was, and it's a one-time charge. So I took the chance and I paid my $3.50.
Did this seem like a single person or maybe a group?
I think it's probably a small group if I had to guess, but I don't know for sure. And like they have multiple skins for it, so you can make it look like the standard Apple Music client. You can also make it look like their thing, like a more custom version. And it has all the same like recently played and pinned items and all that stuff that you get from the main. It pulls those from Apple Music directly. The only thing that was a little janky is because the browser handling on Neary, don't say it, is a little bit weird sometimes. I had to use their alternate method, which is built into the UI. It's a normal thing, not some weirdo business, where I had to go and get the user token, like password hash from my browser cookie and then paste that into a field to get Apple Music access. But once I did that, it was fine. So Cider for Apple Music. It's closed, but good, let's say. I realized it took me a minute to get it working because I had a dependency that I didn't know I needed to make it work. And I realized that there was something that I do instinctively that we haven't talked about that we should for troubleshooting that's really, really good and good to know is that, so in Linux, if you launch something from the launcher, like hit the little icon and click it in there, it's just going to open the window and all of the stuff that it normally spews into a terminal if you launch it. But let me do it the other way. If you launch it in a terminal, go to the terminal, I type cider, then it gives me the spew of the log file in that terminal and opens the window beside it.
Yeah.
The spew of that log file in the terminal is really, really convenient for troubleshooting stuff. When you have like something that's not working the way you expect or something that's clearly broken in some way, you can see exactly what's happening inside the spew of terminal feed in that terminal window when you do the thing that causes the problem in the application. So, for example, DaVinci Resolve this week. I got it up and running. I've been using it a little bit. When I do a specific drag when I drag media from the media bucket into the timeline, it crashes every time. Makes the software completely unusable, just to be clear.
That's a weird one.
When I launched it, and so I could open the logs for DaVinci Resolve and look at the logs and get a megabyte and a half of text that I have to scroll through to find the moment where the error occurred, right? It's usually near the end. But when I opened it from the command line, I could just watch what happened as I was dragging and see the errors that pop up immediately when I do that right before the crash. So you get like the moment to moment context of what's happening inside the application, which is really handy. And I only say it because like this is one of those inherent things that people who use Linux for a long time know is that the even windowed apps are going to spit stuff into the command line terminal when you launch them from there for the most part. And it's really useful. So I haven't solved the DaVinci Resolve problem yet, but we'll talk about that next week, I guess.
Yes. I've tried to launch some things from the terminal. So it's like, oh, sweet. You just type it in and boom, there it is. But I can't remember why I stopped doing it. I think because it was like, maybe I tried to close the terminal and it was like, hey, dude, you got something going on. Or I didn't know if I should try to close the application from the terminal. Well, so I don't know. It was not as straightforward for me.
If you open a windowed application from the terminal and then close that terminal window, it's going to kill the application because the application is a daughter process of the terminal process.
That's what it was. Okay.
So like you only want to do that if you're troubleshooting. I wouldn't launch stuff from the terminal on the day to day because you want the Windows to be standalone. It's literally just a troubleshooting tool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's a good tip. I like that. Look at that. Will with his hot tips.
Yep, that's Will's tip of the week.
Tip of the week. Tip of the week.
Okay, so last week I talked about fixing the thing where OBS always needed a password to turn on virtual camera. Mm-hmm. But now in Chrome, I can't see the virtual camera, the OBS virtual camera, in any of the video conferencing tools that I use in Chrome. So Riverside, which we're using right now, no virtual camera. Google Meet, no virtual camera. I think I did a Jitsi call, no virtual camera.
Remind me what the fix was?
I had to add a UDEV, I think. Let me go back to last week's notes and see. I think I added a... Was that episode 20?
Last week was episode 20, yeah. Maybe you haven't talked about this.
Did I not talk about this?
Yeah, actually, that's why I was like, wait, I don't think this sounds familiar.
Oh, crap. Well, I think I deleted the notes that said when I did this because I thought it was a dupe.
Okay.
Oopsie doodle. I think I had to add a UDEV rule to the V4 loopback, V42L loopback module. So I had to say, hey, it's okay for applications to access this fake camera. And then I think as a result, my working theory is that as a result of doing that, I changed the permissions on that V4 loopback, V42L loopback thing, V2L4. I don't know. It's something like that. The loopback camera, I think I set the permissions on it in such a way that Chrome can't access it, but for some reason Firefox can. When I Googled it, there were bazillion entries on this, so I don't know. Like, I didn't have time to dig into it, so I guess I'll put that up for revisiting next week.
So on this call right now, you're just connecting straight to the camera.
It's just straight to the camera. So I don't have any ability to change things like the exposure or zoom anymore because the Linux controls for that are kind of obfuscated compared to the Windows controls.
We'll talk about that on my section too.
Let's see. Stream PC check-in. I did a couple of streams. It seemed to be stable. I've switched to OpenDeck from BitFocus Companion. I think we talked about that a little bit last week.
No, we didn't.
No. So OpenDeck is this is the problem with me spending the Wednesday afternoon after we record this show doing Linux stuff and then sitting for 6 days with not remembering whether we talked about it or whether I did it immediately following. But OpenDeck is a Elgato Stream Deck and other similar devices controller that it actually they use Wine to make the Windows plugins work on the Linux version. So you can grab plugins from the Elgato SteamDeck store and put them on this thing, and it just works for the most part, with an asterisk where sometimes it's a little janky because, Wine and emulation, and like it's a reasonably small user base for this thing.
And that's BitFocus Companion wasn't using Wine.
BitFocus Companion doesn't use Wine. It uses its own native plugin architecture, and it's great for most stuff. Like the Home Assistant plugin is really fully featured and stuff like that. But the Discord plugin was kind of underwhelming. You could do things like mute your microphone, but I couldn't join specific channels. I like to have buttons that are like let me join the 4 channels I use most often. I like to have buttons like I have it set up so that my Stream Deck with the knobs, I can tap the button. It lets me adjust the volume of each person in the call individually. And switch between them by tapping the button, which is really nice. And the BitFocus Companion Discord integration just wasn't there for that. So the OpenDeck one, I was able to install it. There's some stuff that just doesn't work. Mostly stuff tied to like Windows specific API things, but they've built Linux versions of those. And so far I have the OBS plugins going. I have Home Assistant. I have Discord. Can you control the other Elgato devices you own, like the lights? Yeah, well, I do those all through Home Assistant, so yes. But I think they also have the Control Center knob for them as well, or plug-in for it as well. I did write a couple of scripts that turn my HDMI output on and off. Because it's plugged into the PC. It's a USB device. It's always hot, which means that when I turn on my computer in the morning, it thinks that there's a second monitor off to the right of my main monitor, which is sometimes a little bit annoying. But now I have a button that just turns that on and off automatically, like with a key press, which is nice. And yeah, I did some other stuff with that also turns out it's good for the Xbox, streaming to the Xbox, because I can turn it on from a similar script in the Sunshine app. But yeah, so that's going pretty well. The Discord plugin did require that I switch from using Vesktop, which is the kind of Linuxed up version of the desktop client, back to an official Electron Discord client, but that's fine. And I need to figure out if I can turn HDR on and off with a button press using similar Neary output command, Neary message output commands. So change modes on the monitor when I want to play a game in HDR.
How well has HDR worked for you?
I haven't tried anything with it yet because it seems like a nightmare from everything I've read.
Yeah. I haven't done that either. I was just wondering.
It's been on the bottom of my list for like 2 weeks now, and there are 3 weeks since before Christmas, and I was like, this seems fraught.
I need to double check. I think I am. No, okay. So on this laptop, it does have HDR, but it is not toggled on, and then I've not been using it on my home theater PC either. So
yeah. Let's see. Last big thing is gaming. So Arc Raiders, we talked about my Arc Raiders performance problems. I switched to Proton immediately following from, I think, the Proton Hotfix, which is a Steam provided one, to Proton Experimental after the episode last week. And I was like, oh, this is much better. Fix the problem.
Yeah, you messaged me literally right after we were done recording. You're like, well,
here's the topic for next week.
It happens.
So
and so it's been great since then.
Yeah, it's been So it was great for a few days, and then something changed, and I think it maybe is a problem. I think there's a system. There's something that gets jacked up in the system that causes this problem, the seesawing to happen. Because I've had it happen on multiple versions of Proton. I've had it happen in multiple. This is all using the same command line, for the record. I've had it happen multiple times, and it seems to sometimes just the session starts that way, and sometimes it takes a while, and then the session gets like that, and the only way to fix it is to restart the game. And it's unclear. I've seen other people talking about similar problems with other games using the NVIDIA driver, the 590 driver specifically, which we're probably all on now if we're running NVIDIA cards. One of the recommended fixes for was to roll back to the 580 driver, which I haven't done yet because that seems fraud. I'm much more likely to just wait until they release a new driver and then, upgrade to that.
But that performance ping-ponging, that can't feel good, man.
No, so I just restart the game.
Wait, and that helps?
Yeah, that seems to fix it. So I think there's something
Weird.
that I think the state of the either Proton or the machine or the video card driver or something is getting jacked up, and it's like the next step for me is to load up like Mission Center on the top monitor with the clock, so I can see the clock speeds for the GPU. Because I almost wonder if they're clocking up the GPU and clocking it down, clocking up the GPU and clocking it down, or something goofy.
Oh,
yeah.
And how wild are the swings? Are we talking about like
90
10%?
to 260?
Oh, okay, that's a wild swing.
Yeah,
you feel that.
Like, here's the thing: the average frame rate's fine. It feels real weird, and it gets It doesn't. It's not exactly like the animation lag that everybody talks about now. The animation hitchiness,
error, yeah,
yeah. But it ends up with a similar feel. It's different enough that it's weird. I've tried all sorts of different DLSS settings. One of the things that people recommend was to turn off DLSS because they think that might be causing it, but that didn't seem to have. I believe I've had it on with TAA on and DLSS on. Like I don't have a good idea what the problem is actually.
What if you just capped your refresh rate to 90?
Nope, doesn't do it. Doesn't help. It still feels like it. Then it reports 90 frames a second and still feels like it's doing the seesawing. It's really weird. I've never had a problem like this. And so I played a bunch of other games as well. Returnal was fine. Outer Worlds 2 was fine. A bunch of other kind of big AAA or big indie games were fine. The other one that was a problem was Quarantine Zone, which is a new game that came out. It's like Papers, Please, but
okay.
You have to,
yes, I've heard about this.
Tonally a little weird given the overall political state of the world. But I was trying to play it, could not get it to run on the PC. It runs great on the SteamDeck. So I kind of because I went to Proton DB and I was like, oh, this is gold. And I think it's an NVIDIA problem. I think it's because looking at the Proton DB entries, which all have like, your distro, your graphics card, your Proton version on them. The people who were reporting that it worked great were all on AMD cards, and the people who were like, yeah, I can't get this to run at all, were all on NVIDIA cards. So hopefully something will work out there in the next few days.
And remind me, there was something you specifically need NVIDIA for, right?
I mean, I have a 5090 and it's real fast.
Oh, I thought there was something that needed
the Stream Machine has an NVIDIA card because of the Twitch.
That's what it was. That was what it was. Yeah. Okay. Well, listen.
Yeah.
Can I throw an idea by you?
What's your idea?
What if you have 2 GPUs in that system?
Oh, no,
one AMD, one NVIDIA.
Okay.
And then if you're like, oh, it's not working well on the NVIDIA card, you just
boot over to the other
AMD.
one.
Yeah. Right. I mean,
it seems like a real pain in the butt, Adam.
Or
I mean, 2 GPUs in that system actually, because I have an APU in there.
Oh well, yeah, but I mean,
how do you switch GPUs in Linux even?
So that's me. I don't know. I'm just coming up with wild ideas. I'm an ideas guy.
Yeah,
okay, I'm just the ideas guy.
I know.
I'm not the execution guy.
Okay. The other thing I've been playing a ton of, which is incredible, and everybody who likes games should play it, is Sectori. Sectori is like a modernized Geometry Wars. With like rogue, it's not really, I guess it's kind of a roguelike. I don't know. It has cards. It's a deck builder, I guess.
It's the place-based morphs and does crazy stuff.
The one thing I will say is, if you're going to play it and you care about getting high scores, you should turn on all the accessibility features that turn off like screen shake and motion blur, and there's one other. There's a couple of things in there that make the game kind of hard to read. Or nice. That if you turn it on makes the game easier to read. But it runs great on Linux. No problems.
Boom.
Yeah. There we go. So that's it for me. I haven't dug into the zoom frame rate thing when it's off screen. I looked at the Neri docs and didn't find anything obvious that lets me say, hey, make this always run fast. I'm going to actually submit a issue with them and see if they have ideas for that, because I bet that there's some undocumented thing I can flip on. And then the last thing is that Noctalia Shell has added a ton of stuff over the last month, and they've added like desktop widgets now, which are really cool. So you can get your clock and your media player on your desktop just embedded in the wallpaper.
Vista all over again. Bring it back, baby.
I was thinking, what was the thing that Yahoo bought?
Yahoo.
Yeah, I would go look, but it's down.
MSN. I don't.
No, they didn't buy MSN.
I don't know.
It was
a widget thing.
Yeah, it was the first widget thing. Yahoo buys widget company.
Real-time fact checking.
Yahoo widgets. Yeah, everybody loves that. Confabulator is what it's called, and then they renamed it to Yahoo Widgets and killed it almost immediately.
Yeah.
End of life on April 3rd, 2020, 2012. 2012. This is an old one.
Yeah. Remind me real quick. So Noctalia is your window manager?
Noctalia is the shell. It's like it provides it runs on top of Quick Shell, which is like a scripting language that lets you customize your UI for your Windows. It provides things like the launcher and the bar at the top of the screen,
like the borders of the application thickness and stuff like that.
Neri, I think, controls that stuff. It provides like the widgets that do like your control center to turn on your monitor brightness and stuff like that. It provides stuff like clocks and system trays and volume controls and like the Bluetooth and Wi-Fi indicators, like those little applets, like all that kind of stuff. And it's what makes my install of Neri look like my install of Neri, I guess, is the way to put it. Yeah.
Okay.
It also lets you change your wallpaper. Like it's how I got that good wallpaper, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. I mean, every once in a while I'll see it refresh on your screen because you'll have like maybe a little open slice of desktop that you can see. Well, but the thing I just realized though, with tiling window managers, would you ever see the desktop?
Yeah, I scroll up to an empty one, because if you keep scrolling down, there's always an empty one at the bottom.
Oh, okay. I guess I'd.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I was thinking of like the cosmic thing where the windows pop up and just continue to fill the space. Not
yeah. No. Mine. So I have
side one.
I have rows, and then I have rows upon rows upon rows. So when you get to the last row that has stuff on, if you go down one more, then you have a blank desktop.
And you're also controlling how wide the windows are per row manually.
I'm controlling how wide each individual window is by hitting super and plus or super and minus. I set the defaults to be like half the screen, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well,
what's up with you?
Yeah. I don't have a ton, but, and I should say I don't have a ton because I came back from CES, wrapped up all the CES stuff, and then immediately went on a 5-day vacation, hung out with the parents.
That's
I was
nice.
like, you know what? I'm not gonna do anything related to Linux or work.
You didn't show them your sick Linux rig? You weren't like, hey, check out my shell.
So I did joke
Dad.
with them. I did joke with them that I'm a Linux expert now, and they were just like glazed eyed, just like,
Yeah.
that's great.
Did they ask you what it was?
That's great.
You like that guy from Peanuts?
I think either number one, they kind of had a vague idea of what Linux is and didn't really care to have follow-up questions, or just pretended and played along and been like, oh yeah.
Did you ask if they listened to the podcast?
I know they don't listen to the podcast.
Oh,
so,
boo.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
But I did when I was meeting with them. I think we talked about this last week. Oh yeah, because we had the question about would you help a family member out with, yeah. Would you be willing to be tech support for setting up a family member on Linux? Come to find out, my parents just bought a new laptop recently. Didn't talk to me about it. That actually did hurt me just a little bit.
They buy a Mac?
No, HP. My mom
wow.
is like an HP stan for some reason. I don't remember why, but yeah, I was thinking, I was like, man, what would it be? What would the onboarding be like for my mom specifically? And I think I could help her because she doesn't, she's an Apple person, but she doesn't have a Mac. So she doesn't need all that Apple stuff. She's probably mostly in the browser. Doesn't game, anything like that. Like I'd say, like if she would have asked me for advice, I probably would have pointed her towards a Chromebook actually. Now that I think about it. But anyway.
Okay. Well,
so yeah, I didn't do a ton, but last night, as of this recording, I was like, you know what, I finally have some time. I'm going to fire up my desktop or my desktop that's connected to my TV. So I changed the input on the TV and I hit the power button and it woke from sleep. And I was like,
really?
I was like, I hadn't turned it on. I'm trying to say maybe I had turned it on a little bit last week. I can't remember, but no, it had been sitting there for at least 5 days.
Just wasting electricity, just burning that juice.
Well, I guess I don't know. I don't have a watt meter. I was thinking about putting a watt meter just to see how much it was at idle, but like either way, I forgot that I had put it to sleep originally, and I am so used to it being a Windows system that I turned it on, and for some reason this system takes a long time to boot. And I think it's the Asus motherboard stuff, like retraining the cooler.
Oh, it's the memory retraining.
Like
is it an AMD board?
Yeah.
Yeah, they always have to turn the memory retraining off after a while.
And it's just like it takes forever to boot in. So I hit the button and just for it to pop up immediately, and it was like, oh wow, I'm already here. Oh wow, that feels
straight
good.
to gaming, baby.
Straight to gaming. No, actually, I didn't go straight to gaming. So I talked about this last week where I had went into the desktop of Bazzite, launched a terminal, and did the sudo DNF update.
Bad idea.
And yeah, a lot of people were like, nah, you don't want to do that because it'll update the applications in the RPM tree differently than what it does
outside of the image. Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I don't fully understand what that means, but I'm going to trust you. And I should have done this at the beginning, and because my goal was trying to just use it as a glorified Steam machine and never go into the desktop if I don't need to, because theoretically you should be getting updates through the Steam big picture mode, or things just happen in the background. So magic. So I did at first there was a comment that I found on YouTube. Somebody was like, "Oh, you open a terminal and you run just something." I can't remember. So, but that undoes whatever the thing is. But I was like, I don't know if that did it. It forced me to reboot. So I'm gonna assume it did some sort of update.
Did something.
It did something. And then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go to the Bazzite, like the actual Bazzite documentation and see what they do for rolling back stuff. So they have on the documentation the the Bazzite rollback helper. So essentially in there you run Bazzite-rollback-helper, or they actually have an alias, so BRH for short. You can do I first added a list, so to say, hey, list images of the last 90 days that you can rebase to. Also, why is it rebased with a D? Why isn't it rebase to?
Look, man, I'm not.
I don't know. I'm not a word person.
You past tensing.
Anyway, so I was like, oh, okay, well, I don't know exactly when I did that, but there was an obvious initial image, which was Fedora 22, and then an update to Fedora 43 at some point. So I was like, oh, I'll just go back to Fedora 43. So essentially you do BRH rollback and then put the image name or whatever, or maybe it was, oh no, I did the rebase. That's what it was. And so essentially in the documentation said, once you do that, and it did it fairly quickly, and then had me reboot. They were like, hey, by the way, that locks it to whatever that image is. So you have to make sure to go in if you want to go back to normal OS updates, go back in and do BRH rebase stable. And then it had me, I think that had me.
It'll probably pull something newer, right?
Yeah, it had me reboot again. I don't know if what I did worked. So that's the only thing I'm worried about. Like, part of me was like, I'm not that far in. Should I just re-image this again? And I might actually do that because I ran into a couple things that I'll talk about in a second. But yeah, so if anyone could tell me if I mess something up, or if it might just be easier to re-image the system at this point. I'm not quite sure.
Okay.
But I did play some games. So I loaded up. I've been wanting to replay Silent Hill 2 Remake, because actually the Silent Hill 2 movie, or the movie Return to Silent Hill, which is based off Silent Hill 2, is coming out pretty soon. And I was like, oh yeah, I love that game, and I just want to replay it. And one of my complaints last time was that, man, this thing only has FSR 1? That is so weird. Why would it only have it? Like, when you look at upscaling options, it's TSR, which is, I believe, the built-in Unreal upscaler, right? Do you know?
Temporal
super resolution.
Super resolution. Yeah, that's just time. It's frame to frame based AA.
And then it only had FSR 1, and I was just like, dang, that's just really weird. That boggled my mind. And then somebody had mentioned, oh, well, there is actually a way to force FSR 4 support, because we talked about, man, without a native AMD Adrenalin software client, how do you force games on that don't have native support in it? So I went in and put in, what was the command? It was proton _FSR 4 _upgrade equals 1 into the launch options. And then percentage sign to make sure that it runs. That didn't do anything, or at least visible. And I was just like, okay, that still feels weird. And I think I was Googling it, and I was like, man, how do you make sure to get it to run on Silent Hill 4? Because I think I actually heard that it did have native integration into the menu or something. But then I realized somebody mentioned, like, oh, well, you make sure that if you want to mess around with the setting, you need to run the SteamDeck = 0 thing. And I was like, well, but this isn't a SteamDeck, right? Surely it couldn't have read it as a SteamDeck. Sure enough, I went in and put SteamDeck = 0 in the same launch option
full
thing.
Set of options,
and it gave me the full set. It had FSR 3. It had DLSS. I mean, obviously, I don't have a card with DLSS support, but it opened up options that I didn't have. And I was like, okay, that's weird. but unfortunately it didn't have built-in FSR4 support. And so I was running FSR3. It was either 3 or 3.5, or I can't remember the version number. But essentially, what people are saying is that if you have that launch option in there, that you are running FSR4. But that's the other problem, is that I have no way to, like, maybe there is a way to make sure that it is running FSR4.
Mango
Usually
HUD will tell you if you run that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because it definitely wasn't showing up in I used the built-in Steam heads-up display, but okay, yeah. So that was the other problem.
Yeah.
I was like, man, without that native AMD support, how am I even supposed to see that it gives you that green check mark like Adrenaline software does on Windows?
It's one of the things that's really annoying is that I haven't found a good source of Proton documentation. And I know it's somewhere, I just haven't found it yet. But like, there's a bazillion flags you can put into the Steam command line that also work with that Steam game mode thing that Valve uses on the Steam Deck a lot of times to kind of containerize the whole deal. And I haven't found good documentation for any of that stuff. I haven't dug too deep into Valve's software portal, like dev documentation portal, which is where I would expect it to be, but it's definitely not on their wiki on GitHub or any of that stuff. So if people have recommendations for where to find that stuff, because I feel like a lot of the stuff that happens in the NVIDIA app or in the Catalyst software or in Adrenaline software, which I always get them mixed up now.
Adrenaline software is the newest one.
Yeah.
Catalyst went away.
It's the old one. Yeah. So in the AMD software and the NVIDIA software, a lot of the stuff that happens there on Windows, you have to manually flag with command line flags for Proton in Linux. And I haven't found the list of, hey, here's all the command line flags in Linux. And I mean, maybe it's something I should go make the list of, because it seems like it would be valuable. But anyway,
I'm sure it exists. It's got to.
I would assume so. But
yeah.
who knows?
So yeah, I thought that was interesting. But either way, yeah, it unlocked a better version of FSR, and so I was able to play that game, configure it how I like it. It runs really well on that system, and I had a good time. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna just briefly touch on a couple other things. So I've been replaying Metal Gear Solid 5. It runs amazingly well on handhelds. Of course, yeah, so I mostly run it on handhelds, but I was like, oh, I'll just see how it works over there. Ran great, of course, whatever. I also did try out Sectori, which was, of course it's going to work good. It's a pretty lightweight game. And I was like, I probably might like this on a handheld better. But
you say that, but I find that the high scores I get, because that's a score-based game, right? Like leaderboards and the whole deal. I find that I consistently get higher scores on the desktop than the handheld. And whether that's a resolution and screen size thing, it's just being like noisier and more dense on the handheld, or it's that the desktop has more lift. I don't know, but anyway, the game rips, though. It's super good.
Then I also fired up. So the other part of it, I guess I should have backed up. After the Silent Hill 2 remake thing, I went and looked at the list of games that support FSR Redstone upscaling now, whatever the naming change.
Yeah.
So I was looking down the list, and I was like, oh, there's a couple games that I have that I've been wanting to play that have that quote unquote native support, whether it's in the game or through a force thing. So I was like, oh, I'll try it over here. Stellar Blade and Expedition 33 also had it. So I put that Proton underscore FSR4 underscore upgrade equals 1 command in the launch options. And I launched Stellar Blade first. And once again, I got hit with things that were not there usually on the Windows version. Like it had locked me out of changing the texture resolution and it's some other things in the game. And I was like, this is really weird. Man, did I break something? What's going on? And I was like, you know what? Just for poops and giggles, I'm going to throw in no Steam or SteamDeck equals 0 into the launch option.
Steam underscore deck? Is that
it's just it's camel case. So capital S Steam, capital D deck equals 0. No space.
Okay.
And put that in there. And lo and behold, it unlocked all the stuff. Same thing exact happened with Expedition 33. I initially launched it. And for those who don't know, what Expedition 33 literally cuts you out of almost every single graphical interface option. Like they surface,
Steam Deck.
yeah, for the Steam Deck to be like, you know what, this is what we recommend you run on the Steam Deck. We're just not going to give you anything else.
I mean, so that's what Valve recommends developers do for Steam Deck compatibility for bigger games, right? Like they explicitly say,
Assassin's Creed,
figure out something that works,
that.
and then turn off all the menu options for people.
It's very console-y. I get it. Luckily, I could just put that command in there to say Steam Deck equals 0, and boom, it opened up all the stuff. So like now I'm thinking, I'm like, wait, am I going to have to do that for every game? Does Bazzite by default just treat everything like this is a Steam Deck? Like I guess
handheld?
I'm very confused. And then back in my mind it was like, oh no, you probably messed something up with the update thing, and I was like, man, should I just reimage? So I did do a little bit of poking around, and a lot of people are like, oh, you can set these launch options globally in like Heroic Launcher, which is installed by default.
Wait, and then do you have to use Heroic Launcher? Does it change them in Steam too?
I don't know. I haven't tried that, but I don't know. Like, once again, if my whole goal was to use it like a Steam Deck, which means never going to the desktop, never worrying about anything other than that interface. And so, I guess I need people to know, or to let me know, is this a Bazzite thing? Do you always have to say, hey, this is not a Steam Deck? Like, because that seems not good.
When you downloaded Bazzite, did you choose hey, I want this for a home theater, or I want this for a handheld
I did
version?
home theater PC.
Weird.
So, yeah.
That seems like a bug almost. I'm kind of curious. I kind of want to fire up Steam and try some Steam Deck equals 0 on a few of the games that I've had trouble with and see if that changes things. But I haven't had to change. Like, I haven't had anything that didn't have the same settings. Like, Arc Raiders has all the DLSS settings. I can even choose between convolutional and transformer DLSS models and stuff like that. Like, it's all there.
Yeah. I don't know. Anyway, it was just one of those things where I was just like, oh no, I don't know what to do in this situation. And to tell you the truth, I think because I'm just so shooken up by the upgrade thing, I might just go ahead and wipe and reinstall, because I can't definitively say that this is the default behavior, but if you have to go into Heroic Launcher and just say, hey, globally say Steam Deck equals 0, like that doesn't seem like a good thing. I don't know. I don't like that.
It's funny because when I was having trouble with Quarantine Zone, I wish that there was an easy way for me to see what command, like what options Steam was just passing to Quarantine Zone on the Steam Deck automatically, because like it does that game scope thing automatically on a lot of games, and you don't really have control over it. You don't see those options going in, and I wish that there was a way for me to see those global options in Steam. It would be a really useful thing. Anyway. Yeah. But like, I wish there was a way for me to see the command line that Steam was running to make it work on Steam, so I could know like what version of Proton it's using and all that. I guess I can know that, but anyway. Yeah.
Have you tried using any of the different launchers, like Heroic Launcher? Because I know Heroic also brings in like other
like GOG
launchers
and
and
EA
like
Play
that.
and Battlezone.
Have you tried any of those?
So I've used those in the past. I used those on my launch Steam Deck, my LCD Steam Deck back in the day. I used Heroic. I used Lutris. I haven't looked at them since I got the OLED Steam Deck. I left that one pretty stock. I want to go back. I honestly, like I said, I made some progress on getting the Mister and the Steam Deck save files to sync, so I can pick up my save from the Mister and play it on the Steam Deck. It seems like there's going to have to be some sort of like translation server, but somebody's been building one. So like basically it's just like run a Docker image and then point it to your saves folder for your Steam Deck and point it to the same folder for your Mister and make sure they're both on the network, which I've already done. So like that seems promising. But it's that was a Lutris that would require Lutris on the Steam Deck to run some of the stuff that I need to run for that. So like I'm gonna have to dig into this at some point, but I haven't looked at it yet. Okay. Beyond like just trying to get Quarantine Zone to run.
And I will say Lutris is also in a part of Bazzite. Like it's part of the default image. So
I think
just haven't
Lutris is
messed
more
with
for
any of
running
the stuff.
emulators and stuff, if I recall.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I don't plan to do any emulation on this. This is me just playing Steam games. So
Modern, easy games. Yeah.
So if somebody's like, it's okay, just run Heroic Launcher every time you want to play a game. I don't know.
Well, yeah, and I mean, so there's some stuff that I think I'm going to add to the living room, to the Steam front end for this. Like the Decky launcher stuff is really nice on the Steam Deck, that lets you add little applets that run, like, to make it easy to connect your AirPods and stuff like that. I want those interfaces to be simple and to just work and to not require a lot of futzing, because it's nice to just be able to pick up the Steam Deck and just play Sectori for 10 minutes without having to worry about whether I've jacked something up or not. So,
yeah, and I personally am trying to keep things on default here too, to understand the defaults. So, like, and part of me is just like trying to get an understanding of maybe what the Steam machine's going to be like. So I do wonder if there's a separate launch option that's going to be Steam machine equals 0. That whole thing is going to be a little confusing too. So
yeah. Yeah,
I don't know how it's gonna play out.
unprecedented times. If they even ship that thing this year, who knows?
Yeah, well. And then my last diary entry is camera controls. You talked about it a little bit, and here's what I'm bringing back up here. So for audio listeners who aren't watching the camera feed, I am using an Elgato face cam. What is it?
It's the 1080p one, isn't it?
It's the Facecam Pro or whatever. Like
it's the wide one.
Yeah, the one that's short and wide, not the Facecam Mark II.
You keep getting kind of Shrekky. I didn't want to say anything.
Well, I plugged it in because I was like, I want to just see if it runs on Linux for this podcast. So I'm directly plugged into the laptop over a cable and a port that supports USB 3 because it requires that. And then we are using Riverside, which is an online platform that just connects directly to your microphone and camera and uploads that into the cloud, or pushes it while we're recording. And the problem I have, which you're having as well, because you can't use your OBS stuff, is that I can't control it. So the auto whitening is like turning me green and purple.
When the palm
of
your hand is in the camera view, you turn green.
Yeah, it's really bad. And then auto exposure, obviously, it's trying to adjust for the exposure, and I'm in a pretty dark room anyway. And to tell you the truth, I thought it would maybe push the exposure a little bit more, but now it's stuck at like a really low exposure.
Yeah, now you've done it.
Now I did it. So like that's the other thing. I was like, man, how do you control cameras easily? like there's nothing that I could find in the settings for Fedora, and maybe I'm looking in the wrong place or something like that. But also, I'm sure there's got to be some little app that you can grab.
Well, so the way
it
gives you the controls.
The controls, yeah.
Yeah, so the way I've been doing it was by using the OBS virtual camera, which, as we previously discussed, is no longer working for me in a way that I like. And I'm curious if I'm going to turn some brightness down on mine and see if that does anything. Okay, so it does. So you can control the camera stuff from OBS, even if OBS can't see the actual video feed.
What?
Yeah, like you can set it as a source in OBS, open it up, adjust it there, and then yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but that's overkill for what I'm doing. Well, I guess I have. Yeah, I'm not going to run OBS just for camera control. There's got to be something. There's got. I mean, like the perfect solution for me would be to have something in the top bar that it's like, you just quickly mess around with some of your setting stuff, but maybe that doesn't exist. That's what I'm hoping people can.
Have you looked at
Cheese? And let us know. I love cheese. I ate some cheese last night.
No. Cheese, the application that's like their camera app for Linux.
Who's there?
The Linux people.
the Linux people. So if I search Linux cheese,
just it'll be in your package repository. You dope. Just download it.
It's webcam. Okay. It's in the GNOME.
Yeah. You don't want Linux cheese, man. Let me tell you.
I will say I searched for Linux cheese and it didn't give me anything too bad.
Okay, so that's an untapped market opportunity. We need to make some custom Linux cheese. And then slap a penguin on that bad boy, and we're going to be billionaires.
Boom. What kind of cheese though?
Oh, it's got to be like Lumburger or something that really stinks.
Ooh, wow! You're calling Linux stinky?
No, I'm just saying it's got to
dude.
be divisive and like it's got to make a statement. You don't run Linux because you're Monterey Jack. You run Linux because you have strong beliefs and strong feelings and strong flavors.
Also, I don't know. Why would you name your application cheese? Does it stand for something?
Hey, Adam, I'm going to take your picture. Say cheese.
Yeah, I know, but like I'm looking at the results on Google, and one of the lines is from the Snap version of it, and it says install cheese on Linux. Like, come on, like what are we doing here? And then the Wikipedia article says cheese is a former default webcam application for the GNOME desktop, an application to handle UVC streams over video for Linux.
If you want to turn it off, you can say, hey, Linux, cheese off. And then it turns cheese off. Okay. That's a great place to wrap up the show this week.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
Yeah. Let's talk about a little bit of homework and then get out of here. So for me, I guess I need to figure out the gaming stuff. Honestly, I think I'm just going to wipe it, and just so I can double check and make sure, is the default behavior that it's treating it like a SteamDeck?
That makes sense.
Did I download the right ISO image, whatever? Also, the other part of it is I have seen reports of people already being able to install SteamOS, the native SteamOS application on the Lenovo Legion Go 2. Ooh. Because I'm still having that weird thing where it takes forever to wake from sleep, and after I mentioned it, there was a couple people who mentioned it in the comments, and I was just like, really the answer is just to do the native version of SteamOS, which weirdly enough, I was watching a video from ETA Prime, friend of the show, who did a video where he loaded SteamOS, whatever the newest version of it is, on the Legion Go 2, and he said everything is pretty much there, except for it's missing, I think, the lighting controls or something like that. Which
actually not for the backlight, but for the fancy glowy
knobs.
lights.
Yeah. The RGB lighting around the thumbsticks.
Yeah.
Nope. Yep.
Clip that one out, Alex.
Yeah, and then
put a big blob over it so nobody can see what the hand gesture Adam just made, please.
So I want to do that because that sleep thing is just killing me horribly. And then
what else you got?
Well, I mean, the things that we talked about last week. The share folder thing.
I forgot. Yeah.
Which would be nice to set up on this laptop, because I mean, I like this laptop enough that for the foreseeable future, I think I will be using it. Well, I don't know. I still kind of now am wondering, man, do I need a discrete GPU for Windows? Could I have gotten away with trying to do everything with one GPU?
Yeah. Look, we're a few months away from the GPU slicing coming online, is what I hear. So.
Oh God, yeah, that'd be nice. So anyway, that's pretty much it for me. What are you going to work on?
I'm hopeful that NVIDIA will release the drivers that enable the DLSS 4.5 stuff, because I want to try the multi-frame gen, the 6x frame gen or whatever insane thing they've come up with.
You love AI. Give you all the fake frames.
Nothing I love more than a fake frame. I also am looking forward to the GeForce Now, the real GeForce Now client. I went and dug down in that hole this week, and there are a bunch of different wrappers that people put on both the SteamDeck and the Electron GeForce Now clients to put them in like the AUR or whatever, but they're not the official, like the one that NVIDIA is releasing for Linux. I think it's out on Ubuntu now, but it hasn't been ported over yet. You've made me reminded me that I wanted to dig into Heroic Launcher and see how it integrates with all the Proton stuff. I did install a couple of different non-Steam, non-cache Proton versions to try to troubleshoot both the Arc Raiders problem and the quarantine zone problems, including that GE one that everybody seems to like. And a heroic, like a lot of people seem to like Heroic Launcher to manage that stuff. And I want to see how that works with Steam, because like you, I don't want to add another application that I have to futz with to get games to launch. But if I can set use Heroic Launcher to set default options, that sounds pretty good. And then ongoing testing of the new Stream PC. And I wanted to touch on a couple of things that were on homework last week. One of them was setting up cooler control for the Stream machine to make the fans spin up, to calm the spinning up and spinning down of the fan. So I'm using that. It's that fractal. Is it the Resolve? The tall boy? I can't remember.
Wow.
Sorry, I hit you out of context there.
No, it's blinking. The name's blinking on me too.
It's a tall, skinny fractal case, and it has two big giant fans that blow directly under the GPU to give you airflow in and out of the GPU, basically. And by default, those fans spin based on the CPU speed, CPU temperature, which they're pretty loud and they get pretty fast. So I was going to set up cooler control, and I started doing that. And then I was like, wait, I don't need these. This machine doesn't get a lot of GPU load. I don't need to have anything fancy happening here. So I literally just opened up the UEFI fan control and locked that at like 50% or 40% or something. Those two fans, and it's great. It's perfect. Problem solved.
It's the Ridge.
Ridge. I knew it started with an R. Thank you. And then, like I said, I've dug into the zoom frame rate off-screen thing. I think I'm going to have to submit a Neri bug for that, because I don't know why it's not. I don't know that they have an option to say, mark this a priority window in Neri. I don't know how that works. And then the framework sleep stuff, I haven't. It seems tedious and boring, and I've had more interesting problems to solve. So
yeah, I do want to go back. I have one more that I've noticed, is that the fan speeds on my GPU are ramping up like crazy. Like the GPU
on the living room PC.
Yeah, on the living room PC. I mean, even under full load, and it's a small form factor rig, the GPU was sitting around like, God, what was it? It was like 62 or something like that. But for some reason, the fans were still just like, no, 62C temperature wise. So it's not warm at all. Like it's just like, oh, this is great operating temperature, but the fans are just ramping up and down very, very quick. And I'm just like, hey, these are way too aggressive. So I need to figure out a way to change the fan curves on the GPU specifically,
or at least get the speed at which the fan speeds change. Like what's fan control has a specific term for it that I can't remember what it is.
The hysteresis.
The hysteresis, yeah.
Well, but it doesn't. It sounds like it's running at 100%, and I'm like, you don't need to run at 100% right now, dog.
No, that's crazy.
It's definitely louder than it is even on the Windows side, just by default behavior. And I don't. Did we talk about this, like some sort of fan control alternative before?
Yeah, so we talked about cooler control a few months ago. Cooler
Does that
control
apply to GPU or?
I don't. Yeah, my NVIDIA stuff shows up in that. I think I don't know if AMD does. Okay. But yeah, cooler control is the closest thing I've seen to a fan control alternative on the Linux side. And the problem with it, for me at least, is it doesn't like my Asus motherboard on my main desktop PC. Like I have not gotten it to see the fan headers on that at all. And I also haven't spent a lot of time with it. So maybe I need to set up like a UDEV rule or something, but it's a little bit annoying.
Well, I'm crossing my fingers here too, because I can't remember if we talked about this or not after or during CES, but MSI announced that crazy overkill 5090 that pulls or can pull up to 1,000 watts. That is all configured through a web browser.
Great.
They have a web-based GUI, and I was just like, this is amazing.
Yeah, put that in my machine.
Yeah, so I hope more GPU manufacturers. I know we talked to Ed from Sapphire, and this is a Sapphire GPU. So I'm hoping upon hope that that will become more of a thing, because I just want to be able to control it right through there and be done.
Just run MSI Afterburner in a wine window. It'll be fine, I'm sure.
I'm sure there's some sort of like There's got to be like a Decky plugin or something that you can run.
I bet there is actually a
And
Decky
have-
plugin for AMD GPU speeds. I bet there's not for
Yeah.
NVIDIA.
Yeah, so I should look in that.
Decky Loader low key is real good. Like especially if you use the 10-foot interface for Steam a lot, the big picture mode. It's pretty spectacular.
Yeah.
It basically, for folks who don't know, it just lets you add stuff to that. It's not to the main Steam menu that you get by hitting the Steam button. It's the one that you open by hitting the other button on a Steam Deck. It's like
the overlay.
Yeah, the
Right
performance
side
overlay.
overlay, yeah.
It lets you set TDP and adjust volume and brightness and stuff like that. But anyway,
Cool.
Well, that sounds good. Lots of homework, lots of good stuff to do. Another good
Yeah.
Linux week. You still feeling good?
Still feeling good.
I'm feeling better than I was last week. I was a little down last week.
You were. People were like, "Oh no, is Will out? Is he tapping out? Is he done?"
No. I'm back in, baby.
He's back in, baby. You keep pulling me back in.
I keep trying to get away. You keep pulling. No, I mean, here's the thing. I don't think I've booted to Windows on this machine in like 2-3 weeks at this point, right? Like I'm pretty much full time. It feels weird when I go to Windows now. That's the place I'm at. I don't have I didn't get the patch Tuesday that prevented you from turning off your Windows machine. Did you not see that?
No, I didn't see that. Was this
Microsoft
news?
released a Windows 11 patch that prevented this shutdown script from working. So the only way you could turn your computer off is by long pressing the power button. Vibe coding is going great up there. They're like 2 weeks away from putting Satya Nadella's head on the desktop that says, "Hey man, have you considered using Copilot for that?"
I saw somebody post somewhere a picture of a Windows 11 desktop that had the launcher up, and the only thing that was available in the launcher was Copilot. They were like, "Yeah, this is Windows 12. It's just Copilot."
I hate this so much.
Yeah, well, they did it to themselves. They did it to themselves. So,
I mean,
anyway.
The thing to remember for me, the thing I remembered when I start getting frustrated is no matter how annoyed I am by whatever minor problem I'm having over here, at least nobody's tried to get me to sign up for a higher tier of OneDrive.
Yeah. Do you want to back up your files?
No,
Have you thought about backing up your files?
No, thanks. I'm good, dog.
Yeah.
No, I don't. No, I'm good. I promise.
Into our
I'm good.
cloud. Our cloud's the best cloud.
Yeah.
All right. Well, check back next week for your fix of Linux talk here on Dual Boot Diaries. If you want to check us out in video form and see our faces and see my constantly
Adam turn
shifting
green,
skin tones,
see my weird contrast issues,
go over to YouTube and subscribe on the Full Nerd Network YouTube channel. And we post, theoretically, the video every Friday at noon. We've actually been doing it. We've been premiering it so you can hang out in a semi-live environment with us in the chat. Sometimes we're not always there, but yeah, hang out with people. Check out the newest episode. We're over there. If you want to, just listen to us. You don't want to see us. I get it. No harm. No harmed feelings. So if you just want to listen to us, you can find the podcast that anywhere you can get a RSS feed pointed to. So
yeah,
Spotify,
and
YouTube
Spotify
Music,
too.
Yeah, Deezer, Apple Podcasts, all that kind of stuff. And I will say, I actually had a snafu because I had a short week last week. I was trying to get a bunch of stuff done real quick before my vacation that I actually forgot to schedule the audio version of the podcast. And I think it was maybe like Sunday where people started hitting me up on Discord being like, "Hey, where's the audio version of the podcast? The video one went up. Where's the audio one?" And I was like, "Oh no, it was still a draft in our
in the podcast
RSS
uploader."
Oh, yeah, no. And I was like, "Whoops, sorry about that." All I had to do was push it, and it was fine. But somebody made the joke that they thought maybe the podcast was exclusively on Deezer now, and so they just missed it. And I was like, no Deezer exclusivity.
Look,
unless they want to throw a lot of money at us.
Yeah, if Deezer wants to write a check, we're available. But
it's got to be a big check, though. It's got to be like, yeah.
I mean, look, you don't name
buy
yourself
a yacht kind of check.
You don't name your company Deezer if you don't have the ability to throw a big check around. You know.
There you go.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, if you want to check out the occasional Linux talk that happens over on Will's other podcast, you can check out techpod.content.town.
Yeah,
Brad and Will made a
podcast.
TechPod where Brad Shoemaker tries to throw some jabs at me, but they don't really land that well. So,
wow.
Yeah, you don't need to worry about it.
Look,
and then
we went to a seminar over the break that was like, hey, the way you get success in the podcast world is by starting beef with other podcasts.
Beef.
So Mark Maron, we're coming
beef
for you. We're going to mess you up, man.
Yeah, and then if you
anyway.
want to hear more about PC hardware and want to follow all the tragedies that are happening over on that space, you can subscribe to The Full Nerd as a podcast that Will and I are also on, where we talk about the hardware stuff. Here, almost all software. Over there, almost all hardware. So
yeah, one where hardware is incidental, one where software is incidental.
Yeah. That's
there we go.
The yin and the yang. Anyway, that's going to be it for us this week. Thanks, Will, for joining me as always on this journey.
Thank you, Adam. This has been fun. It's been a good week.
Yeah, I'm going to go hop on my Tux cart and drive into the sunset. Bye.
You do that.